Hello, hello, everyone. Nice to see you all today. Thanks for joining us. We'll get started in just a couple minutes here. We've got a large group joining us today, and so we're just going to give everybody a little bit of time, a little bit of extra time to tune in to the session. Hello, everyone who's just joining. I was just letting all of you wonderful folks know that we'll be starting in just a few minutes here. We're going to give about 2 more minutes just to allow everyone some time to join in. We've got a large group tuning into the call today, and we want to make sure, obviously, since it's kind of midday around lunchtime on the West Coast here, that everyone has the opportunity to start with us at the beginning of the call today. So we just want to give everyone some time. We will start today's session in about a minute or two, but welcome. Great, we've still got a steady stream of folks tuning in. So for those who are just joining now, we'll get started we'll start in 1 minute. So 1 minute, we'll just let the last few folks join here and we'll get started. And of course, we'll continue to admit folks as they stream in here. So yeah, Seisha and Emily, I think you also have the ability to admit folks. So maybe just when we kick things off, you can help out with that. Great. Absolutely. Thank you. All right, everyone. Well, welcome. Welcome to Intern Hiring Masterclass presented by Pocketed and Envol. We are so thankful for you, to join us today on this wonderful afternoon for those folks who are on the East Coast and late morning for those on the West. We're really excited today, Pocketed and the team at Envol, to share our knowledge on grant funding, how to leverage that grant funding to access some top intern talent, and of course, how to attract and retain that top intern talent at your organization, right? That is what we are here to learn today. Now, I'm pleased to share that today's session is available with live closed captioning. So that's already on, and to toggle your settings to see those closed captions, please just use the live transcript button at the bottom of your screen. So that's just on the bottom bar there. There should be a button that says live transcript. All you have to do is click the little up arrow and you can toggle that on or off. So if you'd like to watch with the closed captions on today, you can do that just below. Now, before we get started, I want to go through a couple housekeeping rules here. So we've got a large group on the call today. So I ask that you please remain muted for the duration of the session. If you do have a question throughout the session, please post it in the chat and our team will try to address that if it's a quick one. Now, if it's a bit of a heftier question, we'll save it until the question period at the end of the session today. And also during that question period, if you do have a question, we will call on you. And at that time, you will be able to unmute yourself. But for the time being, please do keep yourself on mute. Now, I also want to let everybody know that the session today is being recorded, and that recording will be sent to attendees after we wrap up. Along with that, we'll send some links to important resources that we're going to discuss throughout the session today. Now, of course, that being said, if you wish to not be recorded, please keep your camera off, and that'll ensure that your face doesn't pop up when we do send out that recording. Great. So with those housekeeping rules out of the way and welcoming all of you lovely folks to our session, I am very excited to get started. And we're just going to run through the agenda. So we're all really clear on what we're going to be learning about today. So we're going to start off with an overview of grants. We're going to take a look at, what are grants, how much grant funding is out there, the basics on grant funding to make you feel super comfortable to actually utilize this funding. The next piece, we're going to look at grants to specifically hire interns and how you can go about getting these grants. Then I'm going to hand it over to the team at Envol, who's going to talk about attracting top interns to your organization, followed by a live job ad review. So we're super excited about this. We're excited to bring an interactive session to you all. And some of you did submit your job applications or job postings in advance of the call today. And we've chosen one that we're going to review together live on this session. Then we're going to talk a little bit about setting your interns up for success, and we'll close out with the live Q&A. But before we dive into things, I want to get started with you. I want to hear all about the fantastic big businesses that are joining us on the call here today. So please, in the chat, if you are able, share your business name, where you're joining us from today, as well as the industry that you operate in, right? In this fantastic virtual world that we've all been in for more than a few years now, obviously, you could be joining us from anywhere in Canada or anywhere in the world. I hope that some of you are joining us from a beautiful sandy beach somewhere much hotter than Vancouver, Canada, where I am joining you today. So let's see that. Let's see what's your business, where are you located, and what industry are you operating in. Great. Awesome. Agatha is joining from cloudy Toronto. I can relate. It is cloudy in Vancouver today as well. Great, Sue. Great to have you here. Resources Inc. You're in Ontario. We've got Tanya joining us from Quebec. Emily from Ottawa. Selena, nice to see you. Joining us from Calgary. We've got some great partners out in Calgary, so it's nice to see you joining the call from Calgary today. Some more folks from Ontario. We've got Rebecca joining us from Vancouver. West Coast represents. Lots of folks from Vancouver and Ontario. Great to see. Jack sent us a cheers emoji. Cheers, Zach. Nice to have you on the call today. Mexico City, there, that's what I was waiting for. I wanted to hear somewhere much warmer, somewhere that I could dream of being right now. Rodolfo, nice to see you joining here from Mexico City. We've got Kelowna. Awesome. Yeah, we've got a great representation on the call today here. James, nice to see you joining from Kelowna. Thanks everyone for your participation. This is great. This is a great start to our interactive session. And I'm so happy to see that we've got so many different businesses joining here from across Canada and across the world. Isn't that powerful, folks? Seeing what we're able to do when we are operating in the virtual world, bringing together business leaders from all across the globe to learn about hiring interns with grant funding. Fantastic. So thank you all. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about who we are, right? Who's talking to you today about grants? Who's talking to you today about hiring interns? And I'm going to start off by sharing a little bit more about Pocketed. Now at Pocketed, we understand building a business is hard. And one of the biggest barriers, to building your business and taking it to that next level is money, funding for your business, right? And we get that. Our founding team has lived this pain, trying to find money to start and grow our own companies past. I was involved in the founding team that started Pocketed. And before this, we were building a completely separate business. And we leverage grant funding a lot for that business, right? And so that's one of the things that our team had become very, very good at doing in our businesses past was building those businesses with grant funding, right? In the last 12 months, for example, Pocket has leveraged over $500,000 in government funds to grow our team and scale our product. And when we think about that, right, over $500,000, that is real impact with real measurable dollars. And we want your team, your organization to be able to take advantage of the funds that you're eligible for, right? These funds that are entitled to you that you can use to do the same thing at your organization for your team. And so that's why we launched Pocketed, right? So we launched Pocketed as a way to simplify access to government funding for businesses just like yours, connecting you with the eligible funds that you need to scale, as well as the support that you need to secure these funds, right? That's very important. We're able to help you actually secure this funding for your business. Now, just so you know, over $80 million in funding has been applied for through Pocketed, and our team, our application support team, has actually awarded over $10 million to our users. So this is a ton of funding, and this is funding that you can and should be tapping into as well. And today, over 6,000 businesses across North America trust Pocketed for their government funding needs, and we are very excited to help you too. Now, that's a little bit more about Pocketed. Now you know who I am and who Pocketed is. I'm going to hand it over to Asasia and Emily, who are going to share a little bit more about the team at Envol.
Thanks, Ben. I'm Emily, Senior HR and Talent Acquisition Specialist here at Envol, and I'm joined by my colleague Asasia, HR and Talent Specialist. Envol delivers business impact to companies across North America through a variety of means. Primarily, we provide employer branding support, recruitment, as well as human resource solutions. So whether you're a big brand or a smaller organization, just getting off the ground, our solutions are built to scale. So a little bit about Envol, and I'll pass it back to Ben.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily. And we are a proud partner of Envols. We work very closely together. Obviously, as you can tell from today's sessions, we have some overlapping skill sets that can help all of you succeed. Now, time to get into the content. I want to start, I said this is going to be an interactive session, right? I want to start with a question to all of you, and I'm actually going to launch a poll for this. So a poll is going to pop up on your screen here, and I want to hear a little bit about your grant experience. So the question to all of you is, have you used a grant before for your business? So please answer the poll. We'll give it a couple seconds here to see all the answers coming in. I can actually already see what the answers are, but I'm going to share it with all of you in a second here. This is going to give us a really good idea of, the experience in the room here, who's brand new to grant funding, who's maybe, utilized a grant before, and we're going to share some information that'll help you with that. So I see we're slowing down here in the answers. Okay, great. So we've got 47 responses. I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to share the results with all of you. So as expected, we've got a pretty even split, right? We've got about 42% of folks who answered here today have utilized a grant before, which is great to see. We've got some grant experts on the call. 58% of you have not, which is even more exciting because that means you're going to get a ton of value from this presentation, and you're also going to really, really benefit from utilizing Pocketed in your organization. So thank you all for taking part in our poll there. And I'm going to move right into our content for today. Now, before we talk about grant funding, and for those of you who are brand new to grant funding, this is a great place to start, right? I want to outline very, very quickly what are some of the common funding opportunities that you can take advantage of as a business owner, right? Aside from grants and tax credits, right? Obviously, today we're talking about grants and tax credits. You're all here to learn a little bit more about that. But on the screen here today, you can see 4 other very common types of funding or funding resources that you can take advantage of as a business owner in your early days and as you scale, right? So we've got loans, we've got friends and family, we've got crowdfunding, and we've got third-party investors. Now, these are all fantastic ways to get funding for your business, and they're all eligible and applicable to you as you grow. Now, I'm not going to say these are bad and that you should avoid these because they're not, right? This could be useful to you depending on what stage your business is at, right? Maybe you need that business loan to just get started or take you to that next level. Maybe you're very early and you need to raise some funds from friends or family because it allows you to get that capital to get started on these projects that you wouldn't be able to get to that next level to be ready for third-party investors, right? But the one common theme that we see with all of these, right? Loans, friends and family, crowdfunding investors, you as a business owner, you as an entrepreneur, you're going to be putting something on the table, right? Whether that's debt, whether you have to pay back those funds that you're taking into your organization today, or whether that's ownership in your business, right? With crowdfunding, equity-based crowdfunding, with investors, equity-based rounds, this is something that you'll have to give up in order to obtain that funding for your business. Now, with grants and tax credits, and the reason why we really love this source of funding is that that is not the case, right? You are not giving up equity. You are not having to pay back these funds to any investor or any third party. You have a little bit more freedom to work with that. So while loans, friends and family funding, crowdfunding, and investors are all fantastic ways to fund your business, and I encourage you to explore these avenues, today we're going to be talking about grants and tax credits, our favorite, a great way to get some non-dilutive capital into your business. So let's hop right into things. Let's talk about the Canadian grants landscape, and this is going to be a really broad overview. So for those of you who are brand new to grant funding, this is going to be some important information to really get your feet on the ground and so that you're confident to actually come out of this call and go and begin to seek out and apply to grants. For those of you who have applied to grants before, maybe you know some of this, maybe you don't. We've had many folks join Pocketed before who are like, hey, I'm a grant expert. I know what's out there. I know what's available to me. And they find a new piece of information or even a new funding opportunity that they didn't know about before, which is always a great feeling, right? If you know a lot about grant funding, but you come to Pocketed and you find something new, and that gives you an extra $50,000, $75,000, that's a great feeling. So let's hop right into it. And we're going to start off with kind of a misconception or a clarity point here. So are grants tax credits? The answer is no. Grants and tax credits, 2 completely separate things. So the way that I usually talk about this is grants are earned for a project that you're about to run, while tax credits are a reimbursement on funds at the end of the year once you've already incurred expenses for a relevant project. Now, the great thing about non-dilutive funding is that it includes under its umbrella both grants and tax credits, and you can take advantage of both, right? So if you sign up for Pocketed, you're going to be able to take a look at what grants are eligible to your business, in addition to what tax credits are eligible to your business. And just like the team here at Pocketed and many of our users, you can take advantage of both types of funding opportunities to get a little bit more funding for your business to take you to that next step. So important to note, grants are not tax credits, and you can take advantage of both in your business. So let's take a look at what are grants, right? If you're brand new to grant funding and you're just getting started, this is a good thing to clarify. So simply put, grants are a form of non-dilutive capital that helps you grow your business, right? And I spoke a little bit about how grants are going to be earned for specific projects that you're running, right? Now, going back to the earlier slide that we looked at, where we looked at the different types of funding that you can access in your business, right? We looked at loans, we looked at crowdfunding, we looked at investors, friends, and family. As I mentioned, we were on that slide, grants are going to be very different in the fact that you are not giving up anything in your business other than the time to apply in order to get that outside funding into your team, right? So that means that grants are non-equity and non-debt capital, meaning you do not give up any of your business ownership, and you're also not in debt to any third party who's investing in your business that you will owe this money back to, potentially with interest, right? So we're avoiding those debts. We are retaining full ownership of our business. And this is really important, right? This can be a great tool and a great negotiation point to leverage as you do continue to grow and scale, and you bring on more employees to your team, and you bring on outside third-party investors. If you are retaining all of your equity ownership in your early days and you're growing, and then you're able to dilute your equity when it makes sense, that's fantastic. So grants are a great way to get that early stage funding in, retaining full ownership of your business and not owing that money back to anybody else. $5.9 billion, that's an exciting number, hey? So that is the number that's the amount of annual funding that's available here in Canada in grants and tax credits. So there's about $2.9 billion available annually in grants, an additional $3 billion available annually in tax credits in Canada. And when we share this number, a lot of folks get super excited, right? They're like, hey, that is a lot of funding and I can take advantage of it right now. Obviously, you're not going to be able to take advantage of all $5.9 million. That'd be great if I could just have $5.9 million for my own business, but you could definitely take advantage of a large portion of that, right? I spoke about how Pocketed in the last 12 months has secured over $500,000 in grant funding. That's real money, right? That's real impact on our business. And for organizations like your own, you can definitely take advantage of a chunk of funding like that as well. Take a little piece of that for yourself. Now, the important thing to note is this number also fluctuates year to year. Of course, it's an annual number. So some things that can impact this, of course, are annual budgets from the federal government, provincial government. So this number is what we talk about as kind of the average annual amount of funding that's available to you through non-dilutive government grants and tax credits. But of course, some years there's a little bit more, depending on what is going on with the federal government. All right, now this is a really great tip for all of you folks who are brand new to grant funding, and also for some of you folks who may be familiar with it already. What are the main types of grants? So on the screen here today, we can see there are 4 core categories: R&D, hiring, which is of course what we're focused on today, training, and market expansion. These are the 4 core categories of grant funding. And as we can see by the titles, they are very much project-based, right? So I always recommend to those folks who are just getting started with grant funding, they're just starting to learn all about the funds that are available to them, think about the projects that you're executing in your business and then place them into one of these categories, right? That is going to greatly reduce your search time, right? Pocketed will help you reduce down by business eligibility, but if you'd like to take that next step and reduce it down by project eligibility, I always say, think about the project you're executing in your business and then what grant category do they fit into, right? So a great way and a great place to start when you are looking at grant funding. Now there's a special 5th category, and that is COVID-19 recovery funding. Now, while some of these, subsidy programs are starting to close, right, as we've seen that in the past few weeks and months, there are still a couple that are open. But the 4 core categories, R&D, hiring, training, market expansion, those are not going anywhere. And these are very important to be aware of as you're approaching your grant funding needs. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how does grant funding work, right? So I already said grants are earned capital to cover project costs, which you are going to incur in the future. So you're looking to hire an intern, right? That is a project you need to execute maybe for the summer months. You identify the project. Now you're going to seek out a grant to cover those upcoming project costs. Now, once you get that application submitted and you get that approval, and of course, Pocketed can and will help you with that, you are going to get that approval and bring on the intern in your organization. Now, the important note to make here, and we see it written on the slide, cash upfront. Most grant funding opportunities here in Canada are going to require you to have cash on hand today to actually execute the project that you're looking to execute, and then you'll be reimbursed as the project timeline proceeds, right? So that can be a little worrying for some users. Now, don't fret. We have some great resources for you to get you that funding in case you need some bridge financing, some bridge capital to get you to that point. But this is a really important thing to know, right? Now, while grants, you don't have to pay them back, and while they're earned for projects, you will, in most cases, need some cash on hand today to start paying for your project, and then you'll be reimbursed those funds as you continue to run that project, right? So in the case of hiring an intern, you'd be submitting pay stubs and any documentation around mandatory employment related costs, and you get those funds reimbursed. So generally speaking about grants, that is how it will be structured. Okay, time to make the session interactive again. This is a question for all of you, and I'm going to launch another poll. It's actually going to be a multiple choice question. I want to hear from you. When is it the right time to apply for grants? So the poll's live there. We got 3 options. I'm expecting some good answers from everybody on the session today. And if anybody answers one of these 3 options here, I'm going to kick you off the call. So you better answer carefully, because there's definitely an incorrect answer and I won't be forgiving. Great. Okay. We've got a bunch of answers here. It looks like it's slowing down. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to end the poll, and this is perfect. Everyone who answered hit it spot on. I'm going to share the results. If I have a project to run, i.e. now, yes, that is correct. And one person is waiting till they're Fortune 500. Maybe they already are a Fortune 500. So in that case, it's time to do it now. And that is our answer. That is completely correct. If you need funding, now is the time, right? Whether you're a pre-revenue company or a Series D company, anything in between, it does not matter. If you have a project that you need funding for, go and seek out that funding with grants. Again, any industry. Here at Pocket, we've helped as small as an individual food truck to a large multinational access grant funding for their business. And we want you to have the same mindset. We don't want you to restrict yourself because of the industry that you're in or the stage of business that you're at. There is grant funding for you at any stage in any industry, and we want you to know that, and we want you to seek that funding out, right? So the key here, think about the projects, think about the desired business outcomes that you're looking to receive from those projects, fit yourself into the category that works for you, and then go out and apply for grants, right? Pocket is going to make this super, super easy with our self-serve platform, and then of course our supportive services. So we don't want you to limit yourself. We don't want you to restrict yourself. We want you to be aware that this funding is available to you no matter where you're at in your business's journey. So great job on that poll, everyone. We all got it right. Okay, so let's talk about hiring funds. Let's talk about a few specific opportunities that you can take advantage of as we're kind of moving in to the summer months here and when you're looking to hire interns for your business. Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about here today is the SWPP programs, the Student Work Placement Programs. Now, there are a number of programs offered by multiple providers here, over 24 delivery organizations, and they're going to offer actually a range of wage subsidies for student intern development. So this is starting at about $5,000 per intern. It can move up from there, and the money is really intended to help develop learning opportunities for student talent, as well as to bring value to your growing organization, right? Now, SWPP, there are a ton of opportunities underneath this. As I said, over 24 delivery organizations that are helping with this program. And the good thing to know is that this funding is available to all of those across Canada that are looking for, student intern talent. Now, of course, this funding is first come, first serve. So we always encourage you to apply early, as well as to leverage Pocketed's expertise to help you get these funding programs. And the nice thing is, as I said, over 24 delivery organizations, that is a lot to think about, a lot to worry about. And as their first come, first serve and funding is moving in this direction and that direction, we want you to be prepared and ready, when it becomes available. And so I always encourage our users to opt into the managed solution, which we can talk a little bit about later, because that will allow the pocketed team to take care of those, 24 providers and all the eligibility requirements that come along with that, right? So SWPP, $5,000 plus, really important to know that this is out there. But I would say this is kind of a complicated program in terms of the number of delivery organizations. So we would say, reach out to the pocketed team and we can help you navigate those waters. Now, the second hiring opportunity or hiring grant that we're going to talk about here today is MyTax. And this is a program that many of you may already have heard of or be familiar with, especially those of you who have worked with a grant and who have maybe brought on some student talent in the past. Now, MyTax is a fantastic opportunity to secure between $5,000 to $15,000 per intern that you're bringing on, and they have a number of programs actually under the MyTax funnel that you can take advantage of. So one of those is the business strategy internship. Another is MyTax Accelerate. These are great opportunities, obviously, to bring on a Canadian-based intern for anywhere between a 4 to 6 month internship. To really build their skill set in research and technical development. Now, the important thing to note here on MyTax is that this is a program that will ask you to make a contribution, so a dollar value contribution out of pocket from your own organization. So, for example, the MyTax Accelerate program, which does offer $15,000, that will ask you to make a $7,500 contribution out of pocket from your organization. Now, the cool thing about MyTax is that this is actually going to give you a unique opportunity to partner with, post-secondary institutions and academic researchers. MyTax is a program that works very closely with these organizations. And so you'll have the opportunity to seek out talent through that and also work with some really great talent through these organizations. So applications for MyTax are accepted on a rolling basis throughout the year. The nice thing is Pocketed has a direct relationship with the team at MyTax. So if you have any questions specifically about their programs or you'd like an introduction, we'd be happy to do that. And we encourage you to reach out to our team. Now, the final program that we're going to talk about today here in terms of hiring grant opportunities, and this is one of my favorite just because you can see how much funding it offers, is the DS4Y Digital Skills for Youth program. Now, again, this program is going to be administered by multiple providers. And it's really an excellent funding opportunity because it will cover 100% of salary costs and eligible mandatory employment related costs, such as CPP and things like that, up to $32,000. So there's kind of a range here depending on the delivery organization, but this is a ton of funding. And when you think about the fact that this is covering 100% of salary expenses and MERCs, I mean, that's really exciting to me. And I know a lot of our users have leveraged this leveraged this program in the past. We've helped them submit applications and they've been successful in that. And so this is really exciting. Now, the cool thing to note is that in addition to the salary coverage, there is also the opportunity to take advantage of up to $4,000 for training expenses. So you can bring on an intern into your organization or a co-op student into your organization and also get some additional funding to help them upskill on things like maybe digital marketing or coding. These types of projects, you can leverage that additional $4,000 to help with that. And of course, like the others, the primary goal of this program is to develop meaningful career opportunities for youth in Canada, and of course, to develop technical skills training. Now, the program is currently at capacity, but this is a program that's going to open throughout the year. Grants are cyclical, so they'll open and close. And so we encourage you, sign up for Pocketed, flag this in your account, make sure you sign up for a managed solution, and we will ensure that when it is open again, we will get an application in for you. Great. So those were 3 specific programs. Just a reminder, we talked about SWPP, MyTax, and DS4Y, Digital Skills for Youth. Now we're going to talk a little bit about securing hiring funds, right? So how to position your company to be successful in this. So a few really quick notes, right? And we look at 3 things here: eligibility, role versus organization, and expectations. Now, when we were talking about the funding earlier, I mentioned, technical capabilities, technical development, these things a lot, right? I want to clear something up right now. You do not have to be a technical company to take advantage of technical funding. And this is what we're talking about, considering eligibility criteria and the role versus the organization. This is very, very important. You can have a technical role at a non-technical organization, and you can leverage technical funding for that, right? It's all about how you position your team, your company, the role. For example, the food truck that we helped, we were actually able to help them secure some digital technology funding because the project they were looking to execute was for web development, right? So even if you're a non-technical company, you can still position yourself as well as your application in a way that will make you successful in securing these funds. And I want to just draw our attention right back to this slide one more time. If you need funding, if you have a project, it's time to apply, right? It doesn't matter what stage your company's at. It doesn't matter what industry you're operating in. We can help you develop an application that fits the project that you're looking to fund, and we can help you get to that next step. Now, talking obviously about hiring interns and funding them through positioning the role the right way, it is now time to hand things off to Asasia and the team at Envol to talk a little bit more about how to actually attract and retain these student interns. So Asasia, over to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ben. So now that most of you actually have your grant funding approved, you're ready to get your opportunities to the right talent. With a simple yes or no in the chat, I would just love to hear from you guys. Who here has hired an intern before? I'll give everyone a few minutes to just send over some responses. Amazing. I'm seeing a good mix here. Yes, no. Amazing. Give it a few more seconds here. Just let me know if you've ever hired an intern before. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you everyone so much for your participation. From what I'm seeing here, some of you haven't had the opportunity to hire an intern before, and some of you have. If you haven't, luckily, you're in the right place. As we present, the chat will be monitored, so I encourage you to share your experiences, share your expertise with the team, but also just ask any questions that you have as well. With this section, Emily and I really want to equip you all with the tools that you need to successfully market your opportunity to interns, attract talented applicants, and then also just get the most out of your intern as well. We're just going to start off by exploring the different marketing tools and avenues that will be essential to sharing your opportunity with interns and also getting them in the door. So starting off with the first one here, one of the best marketing tools that you can use is a job advertisement. One thing to remember is job advertisements are not job descriptions in and of themselves. These two tools tend to be used interchangeably, even though they serve very different purposes. So a job description serves as an internal reference document that provides a detailed overview of the position. For example, on a job description, you're going to find a position overview, detailed responsibilities and qualifications to the role, sometimes paid like a page of a list, success metrics, and also KPIs. You're also going to get a little bit of an insight into the work conditions themselves. If you or your business wants to understand the intricacies of what a position is all about, a job description is the tool for that. However, we're looking for an external marketing tool that shares a brief overview of the opportunity with your target audience, which would be interns. We want to capture their interest and also get them to submit an application. That's exactly what a job advertisement is, and that's what you're going to need to market your opportunity. So kind of diving into the anatomy of a job ad itself and the six sections that are used to make it captivating. First, you're going to want to start with a hook. This is a question you pose to intrigue the reader, make them want to learn more about your opportunity. For example, something that I would use is, are you passionate about digital marketing and looking for an opportunity to build your skill set? Next, you're going to want to provide a brief business overview and company introduction. Share your business motto, a mission statement, even the values of your company to help sell candidates on your business and make them want to work for you specifically. You're going to follow up with 6 to 8 key bullet points reviewing the key responsibilities for the role. This gives candidates a glimpse into what they will be doing on the day-to-day basis, but also just get them excited about the opportunity itself. Afterward, we want to use 5 to 6 bullets to just highlight the qualifications to the role. You want to be specific enough to attract the right talent, but inclusive enough to help prevent self-elimination. One of the next sections is one of the most important sections, which is the benefits and perks. You want to showcase what benefits and perks you offer that competitors do not, and what interns have to gain by accepting an offer with you. You will end off with a call to action or a CTA. Our goal is to get interns that are aligned and excited about the opportunity to actually apply. Give them a little nudge. You also want to provide some clear instructions as to how they can actually submit an application with you. For example, something I would use is, if this sounds like your next opportunity, we want to hear from you. Click apply now below and submit your resume. That's a very simple one. Moving on, I'm going to just highlight some tips and tricks that you can use to help write a captivating job ad and market your opportunity to the right talent. So starting off, we want to look at A/B testing with job titles. You'll want to avoid using job titles that are specific to your organization. Instead, you want to use keywords and job titles that are common across organizations and your industry. For example, instead of saying rockstar marketing student, maybe we want to switch that to digital marketing intern. That's something that everyone's familiar with. With a few job titles in mind, you can also do some A/B testing where you can post an opportunity under two different titles. This is a great way to connect with more interns and also just attract all kinds of talent for your opportunity. Next, you want to include the eligibility requirements. With your internship being sponsored by a grant, you want to avoid applicants that are not eligible and do not satisfy the criteria. An easy fix for this is including the grant name and the eligibility criteria under the key qualifications section of your job ad. It is important to note that the eligibility requirements tend to be centered around age or residence. This can be a little bit of a touchy area in terms of human rights and discrimination on protected grounds. To combat this, you really just want to inform candidates that the position is funded by a grant. Just include a link to the eligibility requirements and allow for them to review it on their own. After this, you can just quickly ask them if they've had the opportunity to review the criteria and if they meet all the criteria. It would also just be important to remind the intern throughout the hiring process that because the opportunity is grant funded, employment is contingent on them meeting all grant requirements. And finally, you just want to use you-focused language. If you want a job ad that not only finds candidates, but actually attracts talent and gets them to apply, you will really need to focus on you-focused language throughout your job ad. A rule of thumb in job ad writing is for every one we that you use, you want to use 5 yous. You want to sell readers on your opportunity by focusing on what's in it for them and not merely only what you're gaining from having them on your team. Whether it's the chance to work with an innovative startup, whether they're working with brand new technology, or whether they are just able to be a part of a mission that is very personal and very personal to them, you really want to show potential candidates what they gain by joining your team. So for our next section, the most exciting part, which is the live review, one of our participants submitted a job posting that they have on LinkedIn. Feel free to just click forward, Ben. So let's take a look at this together. If anyone can't see it well, definitely just message in the chat and we will get that solved. So feel free to add your thoughts down in the chat. I would love to hear what you all think of it. Just off my first glance, I felt like this was a really strong job posting. So what I particularly loved about it is the job title that they're using for this role is a technical lead. That is a great title. It's very common amongst all industries, especially different organizations. That's really super clear. In terms of sections here, they do have most of the sections that I was talking about. So for example, they have a day in the life, what you'll do and how you'll make an impact. I really like that name as well, which is another substitute of a name for it. They focus on the qualifications and skills, which you can see under what you'll need / assets. And then they also do provide some good background information on their company. Another thing that I really loved was the use of bullets. I think bullets are very, very important. We want to make sure that a job ad is easy to read and it is digestible. You oftentimes cannot do that with massive paragraphs everywhere. So it's really important to use bullets, be concise, and allow for it to be easy to be consumed by the readers itself. And then finally, at the end, I did blur it out here, but at the end here, they included their contact information, which is really important. So it gives the applicant a really clear avenue to reach out and ask questions if they would like to. As I said, this was a very strong job ad. So a few ways that I would maybe take this job ad to the next level and really make it captivating is one, just adding a hook and a call to action. So at the very beginning, just simply saying, we are looking for an ambitious technical startup to join a mission-driven startup, for example. Our company is hiring a technical lead like you. Please join our growing team, for example. At the end of this here, where they did add the email address, that is awesome, but we really want to make the candidate feel like they need to do this right now. They need to be a part of our team yesterday. So we want to add something like, click apply now, submit your application at this email below with your resume and a cover letter telling us why you would be the perfect fit for our company, as an example. It would also be really beneficial for this ad to bold each of their section titles, just so it adds some separation and it's really clear to digest. We also would just love to add a benefits section. In terms of job ads, I know with all of you being business owners, you're all looking to bring people onto your team that contribute to your team and help drive your business. However, the best way to get that is to appeal to what people need from all of us as employers, all of us as business owners. So we really want to use a benefits section to highlight the different compensation aspects, the other benefit and perks aspects as well. So go beyond compensation. What about the learning opportunities? Are you offering any super cool company events? Do you have a fully stocked fridge in your staff room? Those are things that you really should advertise and really get people to join your team. Another thing that I would do to enhance this job ad is maybe take away some of the paragraphs in the beginning and transform those into bullets. Just so, as I said, easier to digest, they can read through really quickly. And then finally, in this job ad, I would replace a lot of the phrases that say the candidate or the ideal candidate and just replace that with you. Really allow for that candidate to place themselves in that role and envision themselves as a part of your company. That will really draw them in and take that job ad from being good to being super captivating. I'm just going to take a quick look at the chat to see if anyone had any other great feedback. Awesome. It seems that everyone is very engaged in listening to what I'm saying. So now once you have your captivating job ad, what should you do? Let's hand things back over to Emily, who's going to explore where you can actually market and post your job ad.
Alicia. As we know, it is a competitive market and interns have a lot of choice when it comes to selecting their next opportunity. So it's really critical to implement a marketing strategy that not only attracts interns, but also makes you stand out as an employer. To do this, it's really critical to have a complete understanding of your roles, responsibilities, the potential growth opportunities that an intern might be able to expect with your company, and also having a solid idea of your ideal intern's background in terms of their field of study as well as their previous experience. So first, let's take a peek here at marketing graphics. So Envol has found great success in attracting candidates by using marketing graphics, and there's lots of free tools online. For example, Canva is a great program you can utilize to create hiring graphics. So your graphics should provide details about the role's responsibilities at a fairly high level, but still comprehensively to give a good idea of the role, growth and learning opportunities, as well as a clear call to action for prospective candidates to apply. And graphics are an effective way to share your role across a variety of free platforms. So that's what we're going to look at next. Where can you be posting this information? For those of you who have hired an intern before, and it looked like there were a number of you in the chat, what platform helped you to find your intern? Let us know in the chat if you're able. We'll go over some kind of more familiar ones, but if you have any platforms you've used, let us know. Indeed, Seisha, yeah, LinkedIn, totally. Okay, great. So absolutely, you can post job ads for free on Indeed. And you also have the option to sponsor posts on there. Indeed allows you to specify employment type, which is super handy. So that includes co-ops or internships in order to help you gain traction with your target demographic. LinkedIn similarly has the ability to specify employment types, and it's another great way to attract interns. It allows you to really easily share and repost your job ads and your marketing content. And it's also a great way to suggest to your team that they share their post, your post on their personal LinkedIn page with a little note that just lets prospective candidates know that they can feel free to reach out to them for more information. School job boards are a highly targeted way to get the word out directly to students who are in the market for an internship opportunity. And industry-specific groups that you might find in a Slack community or on Facebook are really effective ways to share the opportunity within your industry. And industry groups just in general are a great thing to be a part of when it comes to building your network connections. So in addition to free posting platforms, sharing your marketing graphics on your company's social media pages is a great idea. So share those graphics on your company's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's a great way to get the word out and tap into your existing network. And that includes asking your current team for referrals. It's another great way to tap into that network of talent that you already have access to. And thirdly here, we're going to look at strategic channels. So beyond free online platforms, it's highly valuable to consider the kind of strategic channels that you can leverage in order to connect with talented candidates who are already looking for those professional development opportunities in the form of an internship. So we suggest that you start by looking into educational programs relevant to your opportunity. So reach out to program coordinators to share information about your opportunity. And you can expect that program coordinators and other educators will often offer introductions between yourself or your company and stellar or standout students in their program. They may also be able to assist you by directly sharing your opportunity via email with existing students. And on the next slide here, Ben, we have a couple examples of job opportunities shared on LinkedIn. So you'll notice they're a little bit different. So both of them, of course, are shared with the marketing graphic included, which is great. And you'll notice that the one on the left is, they've gone for significantly less busy appearance than the content on the right. And it also includes a little bit more of a personal touch on the left-hand side with the note or the comment by the sharer. And both posts do a great job of linking the application platform to reduce barriers for applicants and reduce all friction points. Next, we're going to look at marketing our opportunity. So how do we really go about that? So first, frame the opportunity. So framing your internship opportunity is really critical in terms of attracting applicants because you need a strong understanding of the role and the learning opportunities that are being offered in order to articulately frame like what an intern can expect. And in your marketing graphics and job ad, framing the opportunity by being clear and concise about what the intern wants to know is crucial. And those 2 points are at a high level, what is going to be expected of that intern? Role, responsibilities, tasks, projects, and also what can the intern expect to learn with your company? Secondly, we're going to consider here attracting the right candidate to your company by infusing job ads and your other marketing materials with your organization's culture and unique energy. So the more accurately that you can convey who you are as an organization, the more likely it is you're going to attract candidates who are specifically interested in you as a company. The screening process, of course, offers an opportunity for you to get a better sense of alignment with candidates. Thirdly, and lastly here, interns are generally new to your field. So that can make the hunt for an internship extremely intimidating. So make a conscious effort to enhance your organization's sense of approachability. To do this, we suggest that you reduce the use of jargon as much as possible in your job ads or other marketing material, that you highlight what interns can expect to learn when they join your organization. Perhaps you even offer an intern frequently asked question or FAQ section of your job ad, and also offer coffee chats between prospective interns and your existing employees to sort of ease them into the organization. They can learn a bit more about your existing team structure and what it's like to be at your company. I'm going to hand this over now to Asasia to give us some interviewing tips and tricks.
Amazing. Thank you, Emily. So once you have a pool of candidates, how do you ensure that the right intern is actually joining your team? The interview process is essential to scoping out candidates and also just setting them up for success. So we're going to take a look at 6 tips and tricks to successfully interview and secure the right intern. First, you will want to start with being on time. With the interview process, we want to assess candidates and determine their alignment. However, the recruitment process gives candidates, applicants, and the general public a glimpse into your employer brand and who you are as a business. Some candidates at your business, if you want candidates to consider your business organized and professional, this will not only sell them on the opportunity, but reflect positively on your business and demonstrate why you are the right fit for them. The smallest gesture of just being considerate of their time and showing up on time for all interviews can make all of the difference. Not only do you want to be on time, but you want to be prepared. Take 15 minutes before the interview to review their resume, check out their LinkedIn profile, pull up any documents that you'll need, and just prepare your interview questions. As you can imagine, interview questions are essential to the process in hiring the right intern for your business. This is a great opportunity to confirm that the candidate meets the eligibility criteria. Simply, you can just ask if they've reviewed the criteria and if they satisfy all of the requirements necessary for the grant, and just also remind them that their employment is contingent on meeting all of that eligibility criteria as well. But beyond eligibility, you want to make sure that your intern has the experience and skills needed to make meaningful contributions while they're working with you. Take some time to review the job description and just draft questions based on the work experience and skill set required for the role and required to set them up for success. But it's also important to assess their working style, their career aspirations, and their learning goals, just to make sure that you're getting the most out of your intern. Moving on to the actual interview itself, we've all had those nervous jitters during an interview, especially when we were new to the work field. To accurately assess an intern's experience and capabilities, you want to create a comfortable interview environment for them. You can do this by just taking a conversational approach to the interview. Start off simply by sharing your pronouns, asking them for their pronouns, or even just asking them how exam season is treating them. This will really help soothe their nerves, especially since they're new to the workforce, and it'll allow them to accurately showcase their abilities, and therefore you'll be able to determine who is the right fit for your team. When finishing off your interview, you want to clearly explain what the next steps of the hiring process are. For example, should the candidate be expecting a call from you next week? Will the next step be a meeting with the CEO? Should they be expecting an email with a personality assessment? You want to establish clear next steps to foster a great candidate experience and also just make the interns think this is where they want to work. After you commit to the next steps, there is no ghosting allowed. It's important to keep the candidate up to date with any changes and to have an answer for them when you promised. Again, value their time, demonstrate a strong employer brand, and make a lasting impression throughout the entire hiring process. I'll be handing it back over to Emily, who will be giving you guys some insight into how you can get the most out of your intern.
Seisha. So now we're going to look at some of the strategies for how you can get the most out of your interns during their internship. So we're going to consider selling the opportunity, understanding your team's capacity to support interns' growth, the role of internal documentation in an intern's success, and setting expectations with your interns. So first, let's turn to selling the opportunity. So hiring is a two-way street. Interns have a ton of choice, and they're going to gravitate towards opportunities where they can really foresee that alignment between their growth goals and what your company has to offer. So get clarity on an intern's goals and expectations early on in the hiring process. As Seisha mentioned, as early as that first interview, you're sitting down with that intern. Ask them about their learning and professional development goals, as well as the kind of projects that pique their interest. Even if you anticipate that you can only realistically meet one or two of their learning objectives based on your company's current business needs or upcoming projects, that's totally fine. The biggest thing here is that you're transparent about that. So this helps your company to stand out because you're showing prospective interns that you not only consider their professional learning goals, but that their learning goals are going to play a significant role in the kind of work that is assigned to them. And to foster mutual alignment, once onboarded, we recommend holding weekly check-ins with your interns to understand whether their expectations are being met and to establish clarity on how their learning goals have been integrated into the work that they're assigned. Next, we're going to look at your team's capacity for mentoring interns. So working with interns, it's an investment on your team's behalf. So you're going to rely on your team to provide interns with support and mentorship. And it's that hands-on experience and learning from your seasoned team that is the essence of a successful internship. And that requires you to have foresight into your team's capacity as the leader. So be mindful of your team's seniority as well as their capacity to support interns during not just the onboarding process, but the course of their entire internship. So a strategy that has historically worked quite well for Envol is pairing an intern with an existing employee as their first onboarding buddy and then their ongoing learning buddy. So this employee has time in their capacity specifically built out to support with onboarding and continuous learning for that intern. So this helps to streamline intern onboarding while also helping your existing team members to reasonably manage their workloads. Thirdly, we're going to look here at learning materials and having well-documented processes in place to help you get the most out of your intern. So providing comprehensive and easily accessible resources is the best way to set interns as well as your existing team up for success. So what do we mean by that? Well, before you decide to bring an intern onto your team, consider what kind of resources might be needed to support that intern. We suggest asking your intern once they have joined your team to document processes that they are partaking in terms of projects, any learning that they're experiencing, whether that's related to a software or a particular task. This will help you to build out your internal tools and ultimately leverage that for future intern use. Getting standard operating procedures or SOPs in place is also crucial for providing interns with a supportive learning experience and also setting your organization up for future efficiency. And lastly here, we're going to look at setting expectations. So having key performance indicators or KPIs in place is very helpful because it enables your intern to be clear on how their performance will be measured. We also suggest creating project briefs that outline or provide an overview of what an intern can expect to learn on a project that they'll be owning directly or collaborating to with your team. Keep in mind that things, like projects, of course, can change with time, especially in a startup environment, that's to be expected. So what's most important here is that you communicate those changes with your interns frequently and touch base about their expectations and how they're feeling. Thank you for joining us in discussing how to attract, retain, and manage interns. I'm going to hand it over to Asasia to share a little bit about how Envol can support you in hiring interns.
Awesome. Thank you, Em. So we understand that hiring is hard, especially when you're building a business. We get it. And that's totally why we're here. If you want our support leading the hiring of your intern, we do have a special offer for pocketed users. We will help you hire student interns for a flat fee of $1,500 per intern. This is a success fee, which means you only pay if we successfully hire. So if you're interested, we'll drop a link in the chat for you. For those of you looking to help do it yourself or looking for help to do it yourself, we also have a suite full of free tools and resources that you can access as well. And we will be sharing that link as well. Passing it over back to you, Ben.
Thanks, Asasia. And yeah, what a great offer from the team at Envol. Thank you so much for that. The link will be in the chat, and we'll make sure to send that out in the follow-up as well. And of course, we also have a special offer in partnership with the team at Envol. If you create your free account today with the link that I drop in the chat, you'll get some special perks. Of course, it's free to create your account, but we do have some paid supportive services like our grant application support, as well as our upgraded Pocketed Plus tier. And when you do sign up using the referral code ENVOLX, you are going to get a discount. So these links will be in the follow-up email along with the recording, and we're going to hop into Q&A in a second, but just recognizing that we're approaching our end time here today. We did start a few minutes late just to let everyone join on time. I just want to thank all of you on behalf of the teams at Pocketed and Envol, myself, Asasia, and Emily. We want to thank you for joining us today to learn all about hiring, retaining student intern talent with grant funding. So thank you so much. You can reach out to either team using hello@hellopocketed or hello@envolstrategies.com for further questions. But for those of you who do have some time to stick around, we are going to do about 5 to 10 minutes here of Q&A, which will take us to just about 12:40-ish if you're on the West Coast, a little bit later in the afternoon on the East Coast. So for those of you who have to hop off today, thank you so much. We'll be sending you the recording shortly along with some helpful resources and links. Great, so we'll hop back over to this slide here and we'll do some Q&A. So I know we have a few folks on the call today. Casey's here from our team, which is great. Thanks, Casey, for addressing some questions in the chat. And I know Erica is here for the team at Envol. If anybody has a question that they would like answered that was not answered throughout the session, please feel free to raise your hand. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask us directly. At the same time, Casey, Erica, if there was anything in the chat that came up that was not addressed, please feel free to let us know that, and then we can address that as well. If there's no questions, that's great. I mean, I think that means we did our job. We answered all the questions that you may have potentially had. I know that there were some questions funneling in throughout the call today, and that Casey and Erica were helpful enough to answer those. But yes, again, I know we still have about 35 folks on the call, so if you have anything that you want to ask, please feel free. Just scrolling up, I saw Sue had asked the cost to sign up for Pocketed. So Sue, completely free to sign up for Pocketed. Of course, we do recommend that you utilize our managed services and our supportive services if you're new to grant funding. And so for that, there is a success-based commission fee, but you will get a discount on that when signing up with the Envol X code, which is great.
Ben? Hello, Ben?
Yes. Hello.
Hi. My name is Zach. I have filled out the application in the past on the link that you have provided before.
Great.
And I have not heard from anyone as yet.
Zach, thanks for bringing this to my attention. If you would like to drop your email just in the chat box, and you can also send it to me in a private message in the chat box so that not everybody on the call sees it.
It's okay. I can write it right now.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead and write that right now, what I'll do is I'll just connect with our customer success managed solution team right after this and just check in on that. One thing that I'll say is that we have experienced this with a few folks who have signed up and they filled in the forms and they said, yes, I opted in the managed solution. And we may have sent the email. It may have ended up in your junk inbox. We've had that issue with a few folks, but if you want to go ahead, there we go. Thank you. I will take this down here and I will make sure that I connect with the team after to ensure that we have everything sorted for you. Great. I'm just going to note this down. Of course, my notes is not opening. There we go. Great. Sarah, I see you have your hand up. You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like.
Hi, yes. First of all, thank you so much for that. That was really, really helpful. A lot of the grants that we went over are ones that were on my radar, specifically DS4Y. And so I've missed our deadline twice. And this year it was literally, because as soon as it came out, it filled up within an hour, I think less than. And I'm just wondering if there's a way to get on a wait list that lets you know when the grants are kind of going live. Like I had no idea of the day and the time of it. Otherwise I would have been there and applied.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I hear you because that is a common struggle for a lot of folks. The DS4Y program is very popular and it fills up quickly. And this year, like in 2022, when they opened, I believe it was a retroactive round. So it was for folks who had hired at the end of last year. And so it went super fast, even faster than normal. So when you do submit an application for DS4Y or when our team submits one for you, if the funding runs out, you will be placed on a wait list. And if there are new funds that become available, Digital Skills for Youth program will let you know that. Now, in terms of other ways to stay up to date, Pocketed now is sending updates when you're in our managed solution that these grants are opening and available for funding. So that will be a good way for you to stay on top of that so that we can make sure that you're in the loop. The other way, in your account, if you sign up for Pocketed Plus, we have notifications. So when new grants are opening or closing, it'll notify you within the Pocketed account that you have set up. So that's another option. So kind of three options there. One, obviously, if you've submitted an application, then you should be on a wait list and they will let you know if there are additional funds. Two, you can opt into our managed solution and then our team can make sure that we're taking care of that for you. And we'll send out the link to opt in for managed solution as well in the follow-up email. And then three, you could sign up for Pocketed Plus as well. And then that will give you notifications when some of these big programs like Digital Skills for Youth are opening.
So the last two that you mentioned are not in because I am a member of Pocketed, but I'm just a free member. So that's not part of the service as a free member.
Yeah, so the cool thing is managed solution is actually free to sign up. The only fees that are associated with that are when we're applying and then we secure you the funds and you use those funds. So when we send out the follow-up email and the managed solution link is included in that, I would say definitely opt into that because there's no cost associated with that. The Pocketed Plus, there is a small annual fee associated with that, but that will give you access to the notifications as well as some additional features. So the annual fee is about $180 Canadian, and that's for the full year. But yes, the managed solution, I would definitely recommend you take a look at that because there's no cost up front to sign in and opt in for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, my pleasure, Sarah. Okay, great. And I think we had one more question here from Tracy. Not all interns are youth. Are there grants for career pivoted or career oriented folks? Yeah, so that is a fantastic question, Tracy. And the answer to that is a little bit complicated. So there are a lot of funding opportunities here in Canada to bring on interns and recent graduates and youth in your organization. Now, the eligibility criteria for each of these programs will be slightly different. And for something like Digital Skills for Youth, you know, age eligibility is kind of like 30 and under. So of course, if you have somebody who's kind of making a switch or a pivot in their career, maybe they've just gone through a diploma program or something like that, and they are under 30, then they would qualify for that. Now, in terms of funding for those that are kind of outside of that range, it is limited. There's limited funding for those that kind of fall out of that youth category in Canada. There is one program, and I just have to pull up the name as it's slipping my mind right now, but there is one program that has recently come out actually for folks that are 55 or older. And that program is actually called the Experience Matters program. It's a wage subsidy. It's actually open only to BC businesses right now. So if you're located somewhere else in Canada, then this one would not be applicable for you. But this will help for those who are making career pivots later in life, you know, and if you're looking to get some funding for them. So that's called the Experience Matters program. That will fund those who are 55 or older. And so that's a good thing to be aware of if you're looking for funding that's not for youth only. Okay, great. So thank you all for sticking around for the Q&A period. I think that we've cleared out everything from the chat, and nobody else has any questions, you know, with their hands raised. So thank you all for sticking around. I'm just going to throw this back on the screen once more. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and learn more about grant funding for hiring interns, as well as how to hire and successfully manage an intern in your organization. So on behalf of Pocketed and Envol, thank you. You will hear from us shortly with a follow-up email that will include the recording as well as some important links to some resources for you so that you can follow up. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day. And the team at Pocketed and Envol are here to support, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.